Hello, everyone. This is Marcus, and I used to serve at Bethel. And the purpose of this video is to help people who may be thinking about sending their son or their daughter to Bethel. There's nothing wrong with considering whether a certain course of action is wise for your child in specific. And this is also beneficial for anyone thinking about attending Bethel. And there's a simple question that I would like to ask, and that is, if you send your child after high school or what have you to Bethel, who in specific is supervising them? Who in specific is mentoring them? Because, of course, the concept is that your son or daughter is in good hands when you send them to Bethel. It's considered the safest place to send your son or daughter. The question again, whose hands in specific are your son or daughter? Whose hands are they in? Who's watching them? Who's watching the kids? So, first thought that may came to your mind is the governing body. Well, the governing body is at Bethel. Well, let's just consider that Bethel is made up of different facilities. Really, Bethel is the name of completely different buildings. So your son or your daughter may be at Patterson. The governing body may be somewhere else. Your son or daughter may be at the farm, at Wallkill. Your son or daughter may be at Warwick. Your son or daughter, Bethel doesn't necessarily identify the specific location that your son or daughter may be in. So when you get your acceptance letter and it says you've been accepted to Bethel, well, you need to find out which facility in specific am I going to. They're very different. So no, the governing body can't watch and supervise and check on your son or daughter if they're not even in the same building, right? Well, you may also be thinking, okay, well, they're going to have a roommate. And in some cases, they may have 2 or 3 roommates. Well, again, how old is your son or daughter? Are they about 19, maybe 20? Well, if their roommate is also new, if their roommate is 19 or 20 or 21 even, are they in a position to supervise anyone else? Are they in a position to watch your son or daughter? And what I mean by that is to just make sure they're okay. They're in a new city, new surroundings. Are they there to check on them and make sure everything is going well? Well, of course not. They're kids themselves. So you may have a facility that has a bunch of 19, 20, 21-year-olds, all in the same room, all in the same building. The roommate, you can't necessarily say, is who's watching them, who's watching everyone, all these kids. Well, you got morning worship, right? You have a table head there. My table head is a Bethel elder, someone that has experience there. Morning worship is a fairly short program that after you've done eating and you're done watching the text on the television screens there, you're going to go to your assignment. Your table head, from my experience, is not going to come and walk to your room and sit with you and check on how you're doing. Your table head, from my experience, is not even going to call your room to check on you, to see if you have any questions, to see if you know where things are. Your table head is your table head while you're at morning worship and you're eating breakfast. He's sitting in a specific spot there at the head of the table. He's not really mentoring, watching after, checking on your kids. Well, when they get to their assignment, they're going to have an overseer, which is true. Your overseer will be there with you generally from the time that you start your work assignment to the end of your work assignment. To be more specific, from the start of your work assignment until lunchtime, and then after lunchtime, once work resumes, until the end of your work shift. We call it an assignment because they're working for free. So your overseer, the person who is technically the supervisor, your supervisor at your work assignment, are they watching your kids after they have left their work assignment? No. They're going to their meeting. They're going to their room. You may not even see your supervisor, your work supervisor, outside of your work assignment. So what we need to understand is that essentially your son or your daughter is on their own. And they need to understand that also. They need to understand that once they get there, they're going to have new people around them, new surroundings, a new congregation, and they're going to have to get up to speed and get to know a lot of new people, and they're doing it on their own, and they're doing it at a young age, trying to figure all of this out. So your congregation, is your congregation kind of supervising you or watching after you, or you're checking on you, your son or your daughter? Well, my congregation was East Poughkeepsie, and that was probably about 40 minutes from Walk Hill. It's not even reasonable or conceivable that your congregation that's 40 minutes away, the people there would be able to check on you and watch you, and so on and so forth. So when you really break it down, your son or your daughter will be working in possibly factories, and no one will be watching them. And you may live hours and hours away from Bethel. You can't come and check on them. You may live clear across the country. You could live 3 or 4 states away. You can't go visit to go and check on them, to really sit down and see, how are you getting along with your roommate? Is this roommate situation working out? How are you getting along with others at your work assignment? How about your congregation? Is your car running? Do you have all the things that you need? See, Bethel is not really a place that you're going to be able to drop your son or daughter off at and just drive away and feel somebody's watching them. Because that wouldn't necessarily be factual. Now, would it? So let's take that into consideration. That if you drop your son or daughter off at Bethel, this is a continuous financial concern, or maybe even a burden for some. Again, I want to emphasize that once your son or your daughter walk into those doors at Bethel, that does not mean you no longer have to check on them. That does not mean you no longer need to send them money. That doesn't mean that the organization has now taken your responsibility as a parent. This video is to help people so that others don't find out the hard way. The Bible says that the wise person takes in knowledge. You don't find out the hard way. You listen and you take in knowledge, and then you can from that point make educated decisions. So comment down below. Let me know what you think about our little discussion here. Again, once you drop your son and your daughter off, you are still responsible for your child. You can't assume that because the name of the factory that you dropped them off at is Bethel, that everything is perfect and all the people are great and nothing wrong is going on, and all races are getting along, and all different personality types are getting along. You can't assume those things. And Bethel is just giving them a reimbursement monthly so that they can get toilet paper and soap and things like that. It doesn't mean that your kid, or your son or your daughter, your loved one, doesn't still need money. Maybe they need to get their car fixed. So there's so many people that don't know anything about Bethel. They've been a Jehovah's Witness 20, 30 years, and they know nothing about Bethel because the organization doesn't really put out very much information about Bethel and Bethel life. So this video, again, is to help people. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. Ex-Wallkill Bethelite Marcus signing out.